So growing up, I was born in a small town in North Carolina, Newton, North Carolina. My mom was a domestic, and my dad worked as an auto body repair man. And I spent the days with my grandmother, who lived in Maiden, and my grandmother and grandfather had a farm. I remember cotton fields. I remember sitting in those cotton fields as they had teams of people, picking cotton. And in 1958, my father moved out to Cleveland, Ohio in search of better work. And this was kind of a big period in the country when many blacks were migrating from southern cities and states into more northern and urban centers where jobs were more plentiful. In 1963, then, when the March on Washington occurred, we did not go to the march. My parents didn't go. I think primarily because they just couldn't afford to do that. But we did have a black and white TV. I can almost hear my dad saying, something is going to come out of this. He didn't know what it was, but something was going to happen. And that was really, I guess, the year that this country experienced so much around civil rights. So the March on Washington and my father's reaction to it was one that said to me, we are now better positioned as a people to be able to make major strides. The middle class jobs, or just people being able to have a job where they can make a decent wage, was a critical piece for us. I look back on that. It was probably my father's motivation for wanting to leave the South so that he could have more opportunities for us to be able to push open doors and actually live better lives. I went to college in Tennessee, and the 4 years there was really my sort of growing into the civil rights movement as an adult and really learning what the struggle was about, what we were fighting for, how we were doing it in a nonviolent way, and what Dr. King's messaging was all about. The good thing about it for me was that we were on a college campus that was very protective. And there were just things we weren't allowed to do. So we were in a very protective environment, but we thought then that, we were rebellious on that. Oh, we want to go out. We should, we're grown. We should be able to go into the city. We should be able to go over to University of Tennessee's campus, all these things. What we weren't seeing was that outside of those gates, there was a whole world of Jim Crow that was waiting for us. Over the years, as the progress has been made, we find ourselves now today still in a position of, you may have heard this quoted before, it's more like Jim Crow Esquire now, meaning that there's still that subtle element of racism or discrimination that exists in hiring and employment, and I think that fight is still going on as we speak today. Because there's a whole younger generation who don't know anything about marching. They weren't there. They have not experienced this segregation or any elements of it to the same extent that I did when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. And I think that's pretty important for them to see and understand the history, but also realize what the journey is that's left and how they can really engage and be a part of that.